One of the hardest things to do is learn how to flow roll, okay? And I'll explain it as we go through. It's something that I did with John Danaher every day for maybe 10 years. Like, where Johnny would take me after class and then we'd flow roll, where it's like minimal resistance, but it's like a sequence of patterns that are realistic, so you're learning the transitions, and it's just one smooth flow roll, okay? So if you've not know where we were at, basically we were going into either an anaconda or some form of a darce, but mostly we were just going into these anacondas, right? So we were in this position where we were. You were like this, right? And we got our hands together. We were pulling this elbow out, and our hands were like this. One was on his jaw, and one was on his elbow. And I would like to pair my hands together, but that's not that easy to do because I'm aggressively ripping out this elbow because you might say, why? And that's because they're going to try to stand up on me, or they're going to try to do a duck under on me. And like, so I'm looking and reading of what their reactions are, and I'm trying to get behind them. And if we want to get a little bit technical, I would love to be able to drop my kneecap behind this pocket, because when they shoulder roll, right? When they shoulder roll, it's because they bury this elbow and this shoulder underneath and they roll. So why wouldn't I love to drop my kneecap and block that shoulder roll? So when he goes and ducks under, it's easy for me to block it, but it's easy for me to follow it too. So I'm trying to do a couple of things all at once, okay? And now I would love to pair my hands. So we're going to go back to what we were doing. We're pulling this elbow out, and now I saw an opportunity to make just a wedge point. So I shoot my leg in front of this point, and now I'm locking him in because right now I have his chin, and now I got a wedge point. Now I have a free hand, right? I could do a lot of things with this free hand. I could spin to the back. I try to take it back, and what we were doing, I paired my hands up, and now I move forward. I won't get into any kind of crazy details, and we're going to do two of them, okay? But for people that have been coming consistently, we're going to attach the flow pattern to it. So I've locked this up. We said there were two that we were going to do from the last couple of classes. I'm going to try to dump him over with this instep and the push of this leg. So two things, and I control the head. So as I land here, I brought my instep in. Now I have the secondary leg. As I take him over, I'm not going to ask you to finish him. I'm just going to ask you to get into the habit of just locking up this elbow. And that would normally allow us to transfer our hands and try to finish. But we're going to say that he comes up. So once you lock him in, you touch the elbow, you turn your leg back, right? And now he's going to come up. But as he comes up, we're going to switch our grip from this to this. So we were grabbing onto our wrist, now we're going to go palm to palm. Because as he's coming up, it's a perfect time to transition my hands, take my back leg out, and now come back underneath to finish him the other way. And now on the second turn, I finish. So one more time for people that haven't seen it, right? You're ripping out the elbow, you're on a chin strap. I would love to put my hands together. I just gave you reasons why this all happened, why I wanted that pocket, how they tripod up. I don't want him ducking under. I'm slamming hard because if I potentially am up here, Ethan is going to shoot himself underneath, and I'm going, damn. So many things, right? A lot of different reasons of why I'm ripping out. So we're going to say, people have never seen it before, we're pulling this out. I see an opportunity to make a wedge point with this kneecap. I drive my kneecap in, now I've collected him. What's the worst case scenario? Things go bad for me, and now he's not able to grab onto this leg. Things go bad to me, I just slide it back out. Things go good for me, and I feel like, you know what, I don't really want to pair my hands. It's a perfect pivot point to come to this back quadrant. So for many reasons, I'm set to sequence really nicely, efficiently, and beautifully, right back in. So, but we're going to say, for people who've never seen it, I make a position, I make a grab, I attach my hands together. As I'm trying to finish him, I'm like, man, I'd love to dump this guy over because he's so big, and I want to see if I can collect this elbow with this leg. So as I drive this leg in, I start dumping him. My first reaction is, at this point, I don't want him going to his back, so as I come forward, I just touch his elbow, so I'm getting used to it, right? We're going to ask our partner, can you do me a favor and come back to turtle, right? So as he's fighting a turtle, I'm transferring my hands, and as he's coming back up, I'm coming back underneath. So now, on the second one, I finish, and I Okay? So now we're gonna go to the flow pattern, right? Right? So we gotta have our partner on your back, right? We gotta have a partner, right? Like, be aware, like it's awful to have a terrible partner. That's why I'm a fan of like certain partners when they pair up, because it's fun to watch. But when they don't pair up, and then one guy's like only concerned about himself, he doesn't give you a real flow, right? So this is the flow pattern. We're gonna practice a little passing at the same time. So you're in this hand fight, he's up, and we just clapped hands, and I'm trying to smash him. Lay back down, right? So I saw an opportunity to get my arm on the outside of his kneecap. So all I'm doing is transferring his kneecap from one side of my spinal cord to the other. I'm gonna get position of my body behind here, okay, so that I can beat him by movement and not power. So the moment I was here, I just moved this out of the way. It's minimal, right? I didn't go like this, right? Because what if he grabs onto this elbow and now he's driving me? He also can recover if I had fabric, so it's minimal, okay? So I'm here like this. My body's on the outside. As I'm driving, so we're gonna practice a little bit of a smash pass. As I'm driving, I'm going diagonal. There's no wall over there. I don't wanna go into power, okay? So my first reaction is I'm blocking his kneecaps with this hand. I'm holding on to his hip because he wants to return, or he wants to get this hip up so high to clear this hip to recover it or go an inversion on me. So this hand's gotta hold that hip. This hand's gonna block these kneecaps because I gotta get in front of his kneecaps with my knee. So that's how I win a positional battle. So I beat him by movement and angle, but now all I had was wedge points. I had a wedge at this hip and I had a wedge blocking these kneecaps. So I got on the outside. I'm like this now. I'm dropping. My hands never pass the center line point. It's coming to this hip, but I'm gonna expose that hip by movement. So as I'm like this, as I'm dropping to drive, I'm blocking these kneecaps. Hand is starting to get to that point. You saw no loss in efficiency, right? So as I'm driving and blocking, I've collected him in the position I want. Now I have to start driving forward with my lower half. As I get up to this point, he's pushing, he's doing everything to get rid of me. So I see an opportunity, right? And now there's gonna be different stages of where you can land this kneecap. Right now, I would love to put it all the way in here, right? That's what I'd love to do. Get position inside here, and then get control of your face with this bicep, because then I can mount you. But that's not realistic in a high level fight. Like, this guy's gonna let me do all of that, and my hand's here fighting, and how much strength do I have? He's gonna be jamming these kneecaps up so hard. I'm trying to hold both of them. It's not gonna happen. And now he's bigger and stronger. And he's like so powerful. And all I did was try to stop these kneecaps for a second so that I could get this kneecap in front of your kneecaps. I said, right, in this scenario, we're gonna land this thing just short, because I can't imagine the world being so perfect for me that this guy's gonna stay here. Because that's not really like what he should do. He should be fighting to recover his knee line. From day number one, they've taught you knee, elbow, escape, knee, elbow, escape, knee, elbow, escape. So he's gonna be doing everything to put these things together. So as I land in this position, I'm sitting here like this, and I'm blocking. As I land, right, I would love to drive this kneecap, but all I wanted to do was get in front of his kneecap. So as I land my kneecap in front, I backstep the other way because I'm gonna try to beat him this way over the top. But as I do, he's a good player. He's gonna fight to turtle. So you have a smash pass to an angle drive blocking the kneecaps, right? As you come on his back step, your partner should be fighting a turtle. As you're fighting a turtle, there go my pairing of my hands, right? So now you start the second sequence of what I just showed, okay? So back one more time. So you're learning how to, the game is so beautiful to watch, right? Somebody did this interview for a book with me the other day, and Cynthia, I have to follow up with more questions the guy wants. And the guy said to me, Cynthia sent me this thing, he said about water. I forgot the exact question, Cynthia. You know what I'm talking about?
Like in the East Asian philosophy of water,
yeah.
What is BJJ like?
Yes, whatever. But what I look at it in water is that I'm flowing off of him. Like, I'm not trying to stop you in anything. Like, I want you to move. I want to submit you. I want to flow off of every movement and let you be as powerful as you want. And then when you do that, that's when BJJ really is artistic to watch, where it's like nothing's forced. It's not this muscle and spin and try, blah, like, and you go, oh God, it's so awful to watch. I know you submitted them, but it's like, if you're a connoisseur of movement, it's like, ugh. It's like not fun to watch for me. It's like I want to see beauty and grace all the way through. And sometimes I watch Coco do capoeira. Capoeira is beautiful to watch. BJJ, 90% of the time, it's not beautiful to watch. But when that 10% is on, man, it's so nice to watch. And it's just a beautiful flow, right? So you're here like this. You got on the outside kneecap. I'm driving down. We said we had intentions with both my hands. This hand to this hip. These hands blocking the kneecap. As I'm driving, I'm stepping. I see an opportunity to drop this kneecap in front of those kneecaps, and now he's fighting and fighting to push me away. And now he's fighting a turtle. Where are my hands going? One's over the neck, one's pulling out this elbow. My kneecap is still there. So as Ethan comes to turtle, I'm ripping out. Where did we say we'd land? We're not going to pause. We're going to do exactly what we intended to do. Either take his back, drive this kneecap, or collect our hands. In the sequence we're doing, we're going to pair our hands with our first wedge point. So when you land in here, I can't tell you this, guys, enough, guys. You've never done it before. It's if I could tell you the commentary that John Danaher, and you can put this on tape, that John Danaher would literally say to me, and because some guy thinks because he saw it one time wants to go as fast as he can. Johnny would pay attention to the guy that went millisecond at a time, that understood. It's like, as Maddie famously says, slow and smooth becomes fast and deadly. Maddie, I know I keep messing that one up, but, right? So, but it's true, right? So millisecond at a time, and then you get a little bit faster at it. So when I just landed like this, I start coming up and I make my wedge point. I connect my hands. I'm fighting to dump them over. I touch elbow. Ethan comes back up. I change my hand positions, I come back underneath, and now I finish on the other side. So you have it. I would recommend that you not do left and right, right? You don't need to smash on both sides. You can mix them. If you understand what I'm saying, you can mix them with a smash to a flare on the other side. So stick to the smash on one side, right? So you got to smash to a drive, block, hip, kneecap, let him come to turtles. So you accomplished one thing. You're starting to learn how to smash bash and drive at angles. Second thing is, he's never going to be there, even if from a side control position. Go in side control. So even if side control, he's so ridiculously strong. Remember the other, I'll tell you a different way, okay? Remember the other week, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were working where you sprawl past, right? You landed like this, and now Ethan's pushing me away. And now, so I go this way. And now, sometimes they'll turn away. And when they turned away, I told you to face him this way and start attacking him. What if he doesn't go that way? What if he comes this way, right? So I went on a sprawl. I'm hitting the sprawl like this. I shoot this sprawl. I'm like this, coming up. And now Ethan's fighting to come towards me. And I go, there goes my position. There goes my wedge. There goes my grab. There goes my dump, right? So I have to be prepared to follow in or out, in or out, in or out. And that's where we're going to go now, right? So we're going to mix up the transit. We'll keep the darts going. We'll keep the anacondas going on the position, but we're going to enter from different angles. So we start getting comfortable on the flows. Okay, guys? Let's part up and do it. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So we have about 7, 8 minutes, and I'll give you a second pairing to it. Everything stays the same on the smash. Go on your back for a second. Everything stays the same on the smash. But I just told you about beating the kneecap, right? So I wanted to basically, essence of guard passing is so simple. Can I get by this kneecap to this toe? If I can get by there, right, I basically am starting to pass. So same principle applies here. They're like this. My kneecaps are in front of your kneecaps, right? So that's what I really wanted to do. So people that aren't too sure on smashing, I ask that you correct one small thing, and that you would pay attention to something. When they turn like this, sometimes you might hear myself or Ethan or Cynthia say, don't go to the strong side. Meaning that, like, if I go this way, I'm about to counter these hands and all the strength that he has. So if I have this leg pinned, I see people doing a smash pass and then having this top leg here on this shin. I don't go that way. The reason being is that there's no strength on this side, so it's easy for me to follow you on this side. And you might say, well, why don't you do that every time? But if I don't have this pin, it's because this leg came so high up. Then how do I get this pin? And now when I backstep it, he's perfectly behind that kneecap. Then when I go back, he elevates, grabs that kneecap, and now I'm on this awful foot lock. Or if he doesn't grab the foot lock, it just becomes this silly scramble where I get dumped, and then we have two like rhinos running back into each other with silliness, right? Right. So when I do that, right, the reason I'm bringing it up is that I always wanted to see if I could pin this leg. That was number one objective, right? But this time, when I go like this, and he brings that kneecap so high up, right? Stay right here, okay? Let this down, stay right there. This kneecap should be touching here, right? Because I wanted to, if I could get this kneecap, that means this lever is closer to pinning this leg, right? But what also happens is, I'm so close here, and he's like this, and you say, Mike, this pocket is closed. How would I put my, I don't need to then. If he doesn't want me to be in front, maybe I just press it and slide this way. And now, same position. He's going to come to turtle, and I'm going to go, okay, oh, there I go again, right? So I'm learning how to transition and flow beautifully off of his move. I didn't force anything, man. All I did was beat you. Hex and Gracie said it beautifully. Invisible BJJ, right? Because there was no strength here. All I did was win the outside ligament, and now all your strength is linear with me. And where am I doing? I'm really running to Rich. I'm running that way. And now through movement, I beat you. But then you alter me too, right? All the things I wanted to accomplish, but I'm not strong enough, right? Because you're so powerful. You drive these kneecaps high. And you're waiting and you go, he ain't gonna pin me. Okay, so I slide that way, right? You dictated this. You didn't want to let me block this, and this is really in an ideal world. Ideal world, I would go pin, back step, grab elbow, attack, mount. Maybe not too perfect this time. I get like this, right? And that'd be the ideal world. Maybe I use my elbow and I back step. All of these things, right? Potentially I block. And this would be great this way. I land this thing so deep. I get control of his neck. I drive him the other way and I mount him. Yeah, in the ideal world, but you have to be prepared for the unrealistic, unideal world. And that's when BJJ becomes this chess match, because I'm reading the heights of your knees. I'm reading the position of my hand. I'm reading the grip on the back side. I'm reading this pin on here and what you're doing with this top leg and where this instep is and the height of it. I'm trying to read where the position of this hip line, if I'm losing the hip on the top, that I have to bail early. Like so many things I'm reading and off of muscle twitches, right? So sometimes when I say, hey, learn how to roll with your eyes closed, because you're reading these twitches, right? So if you want to pair that one, you're welcome to, right? What I just described, right, one more time, was I did everything exactly the same on my flow. But when I got to this point and I started driving, I'm like that, driving my head. One other thing, guys, your spinal cord, your head position should line up with the center of the spinal cord line, because if you think about the lower half, and I see people getting to the habit of drilling it like this, their head's up here. I want to be able to, that Ethan power me down, that my head going like this, and I'm driving with my legs, and I'm not letting this guy come underneath or attack this leg. So your head position is driving down the center, okay? Number two is, when he reacted on me, we got about 5 minutes. When he reacted on me, he brought this knee high on me, right? And he closed that pocket, because from the first day he had an instructor that told him, knee elbow escape, knee elbow escape, knee elbow escape. I'm okay, knee elbow escape. It is what it is. I can't go in front of that pocket. So I'm like this. And what did I do? I just went, slide that kneecap through. But when I land here, he's not going to just stop. He's going to fight the turtle. Pivot point, do me a favor, no stutter steps. You're not a helicopter. You're going, da, 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 da. One move. He comes to turtle, watch the pivot. Only thing that's going to happen is this kneecap's going to end up here. I'm never going to move my leg. He comes to turtle, move. Like there's no stutters. And right back, I'm back on the move, pulling this, my wedge, there goes my attack again. So you're learning never to stop. How we started 30 minutes ago was water, right? All I was water on you. You decided how to move. You decided how strong you are. You decided everything. All I did was flow up your movement. And now that becomes the chess match and the invisible jiu-jitsu and all the things that these people talk about, right? So let's partner up and do it. 1, 2, 3. We got 5 minutes. If you wanted to get up quickly, you would throw your hands, right? Because you wouldn't sit there like this and like say, get up as fast as you can. You go do a sit-up. You take your hands and you go like that, right? Hey, can I have your sit-up, right? So I want to go to side control position. Come here, go on your side second. If I wanted to go to side control position, and I'm sitting here like this, right? And I was on this grip, and I'm jamming my head forward to keep this position. And I got to go to side control. I see people taking this hand and trying to loop it right here. Like, I want to end up in side control. So the moment I take this hand, he's going like this because I want to end up over here like this. So take your hand because that's the same principle. And then you say, well, it doesn't help me that much. Oh my God, that's the same guy that tells me like, this doesn't matter, and 1 inch doesn't matter, and 2 inches. I think it all matters, and it does, because 1 inch this way and 1 inch this way, he goes out. So why wouldn't 1 inch matter in other spots? And you know, if the game at the highest level is a game of inches, it is a game of inches. So it's just a suggestion, because I see some people having an awkwardness of coming up, or they're ending up too far on the upper quadrant. Because cervically, I want to take this head and like leverage it this way and then jam it forward like this, right? But I don't need him up in the air like this, because then his body comes to his head. And now the angle's different, and now when I'm pulling, I'm not getting that full rotation to rip up and curve. I want him going so far to his right where he can't look anymore. And that can only be achieved by me pushing him down on his back, supine. And that can't happen with me being up here, because I got to give him some pressure down there on those hips. Otherwise, they're going to try to release the pressure, and then they're going to turn these hips this way. And now, when I was jamming this way, his head's here, and mechanically, I can't lift high enough. So now I'm starting to lose the move, and you go, well, I can't do it. But you're not doing the other things that mattered. So when you take that hand, you loop it through. Take a shot at grabbing on. What if that guy had pants or a gi? I could easily just grab fabric and just pull myself up. But if I'm over here, I'm not pulling myself up. I'm also not using momentum on my arm or my swings or ending up in the correct position. BJ does not lie. It is so true that if you're off balance on one side, you're off on the other. If you're not positionally set to move on to the next sequence, you will start poorly in the next sequence. Like, it's just true in art. It's really fascinating to me. So it's as true as art. It gives you what you give it, okay? We have about 3 minutes. If you want to practice that, I personally don't care. If you want to practice in 3, we rock in 3 though. Okay, if you want to practice at 8:15, you got about 6 minutes. I recommend that you drill. Drillers make killers. There's no line behind that. So let's do it, guys. 1, 2, 3.